Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm your host, Reese-c-clear. Today we're going to call this one The Chosen. Many are called, few are chosen. The chosen have been chosen since childhood. So there's three major signs that you are chosen. And these signs, in some cases, the called will have those signs as well. But that does not make them chosen, they are just called. So now if you are the called, then you're just the called. You will receive the understanding. You will know that the Lord is God. You will come to that understanding throughout your life, that you know that there is a God in heaven and all things must go through him. You begin to seek to live your life righteously and to do things upright above the board. This means you don't like lying, you don't like stealing, you don't like cheaters, you don't like none of that. You're not into none of these deceitful ways of life or living. That's just that you're called. So, but the chosen, on the other hand, are chosen because they are meant to bring the kingdom of God to others through their life, through decisions that they are making throughout life. They will come to that understanding and be woken up to it. So the first sign of the chosen is trauma. Traumatic things happen in your life. I'm talking about since childhood. You will have scars from these traumas. They can be mental, but it is also physical. So in the call, they may have signs of the same traumas, because most people in life have went through some sort of trauma, especially depending on your ethnic background. However, the chosen will have scars, both physically and mentally, that match those traumatic instances. And they won't be able to get around this. When you're chosen, the childhood traumas that match the scars will be the sort of things that you have to always see. Like, you won't have no way around it. You'll be constantly reminded by it in life. People will see you and you will see the recognition in their eyes if they don't flat out say, oh, where'd you get that injury from? Or where'd you get that scar from? Or what happened with that? If they don't flat out say it, you'll still have a recognition of that in your eyes, that they see it and that they are wondering about this particular scar. What is that and where did it come from? That is one of the things that the Lord does to the chosen, because when you are chosen by God, the enemy also knows this well in advance. So when you may not be aware of it, but the enemy has been aware of you since you were born. So the enemy has been trying to attack you since you were born. And these signs will be because of that. That these are things that the enemy has done, that the Lord has allowed to happen, but he's also protected you from it at the same time. It sounds strange, but we serve a God who turns everything upside down so that he can get the glory out of it. Because what the enemy means for bad, God means for good. So in other words, those traumas happen to you. You perceive them as bad. They even left scars on you, but you could have died from those scars. You would have died from those traumas had it not been up for God. If the devil would have truly had his way, then you wouldn't even be here to watch this message. It would have been done. Now, you have to look at the Ethiopian Bible, at the story of Moses for this mainly, but the story of Abraham, the story of Jesus, these things are all written. There's always signs of the chosen. Moses wound up eating a lump of coal when he was younger, but this lump of coal saved his life. He had actually put on the Pharaoh's crown when he was young, and the Pharaoh winded up saying, hold on, what is this? This was a strange thing. At the time, anyone touching the crown of the Pharaoh, and they wasn't a Pharaoh, was literally punishable by death, and pretty much no one was immune from that. That's what it was. So they had a whole meeting about this thing, because he had put the Pharaoh's crown on his head while he was a child. And the soothsayers of the Pharaoh had said, hold on, this is a Hebrew child. God is known to be with them, and they don't do nothing by mistake. Don't nothing happen on accident with them. They are known to come up and then begin to take over. They rise up amongst the people, and God favors them, and the kingdom winds up being theirs. So he did this on purpose. That's what they were saying. He has designs for your throne. That's what the soothsayers were saying. Kill him now. That's what the soothsayers were saying. This was all the enemy. trying to do this. These were men who did not have no faith in God. The Pharaoh did not have no faith in God. He actually thought that he himself was God. So they had a whole meeting, called all of the enchanters and everything from all around to this meeting, because it was going to be decided the life of Moses, whether he was going to live or die from this, because this is a thing punishable by death. And when all of these enchanters came in, they had one purpose. We're going to put a lump of coal that is literally smoking and smoldering right here in front of him, and we're going to put this shiny, gleaming helmet that is really the crown of the Pharaoh in front of him, and see if he chooses the crown again. So this is basically a setup. If you were grown, if Moses was grown, he would have never even chosen to anything but the crown. But an angel of the Lord came to that meeting. And when Moses, as a child, went to reach for the crown again, the Lord caused him to reach for the coal instead. Not only did he reach for it, he grabbed it and put it in his mouth and received burns all in his mouth and all in his tongue from this. And that is why in the canonized version of the Bible, when the Lord came to Moses again and Moses was saying, "Oh Lord, I am slow of speech. I am not learned. I don't know how to speak. I'm slow of speech." That is what that came from. The Ethiopian Bible gives you a more of a read and more of an understanding of the canonized version of the Bible that you read, that leads this whole story that I'm telling you out. I only said that so that you could know that childhood injuries and childhood traumas and things like that will plague you, through the life, until the Lord deals with these things for you. This angel calls Moses to eat this lump of coal, and it saved his life. If he would have put that crown on, it would have killed him. Now, logically, anyone right now today, if your choice is between a crown and a lump of burning coal, it seems like a non-choice. Hey, I'm choosing the crown. But that would have led to death. So that's another thing when it comes down to your traumas, and it comes down to the things that you went through that the Lord used in your life to make you. Nothing that happened to you is going to hit the ground. The Lord is going to use all of it. He's going to get the glory out of your enemies. He's going to get the glory out of your naysayers. He's going to get the glory out of your pain. He's going to get the glory out of your traumas. And then he's going to get the glory out of your life itself, because then you will go forth and your testimony will literally save lives. You'll speak on things that people would consider a lie itself. The devil will be really right there. His whole time that you're doing is trying to block you. That same devil that tried to kill Moses when he was a child, stayed there the whole time trying to kill him. So that's the first sign, one of the three major signs. Now, there's many signs of the chosen, but many are called through a chosen. So that's the first sign. Traumas. You will have traumatic instances and things that happen to you as a child that also didn't just scar you mentally at that time, but it left a physical scar that remains even right now, life today. And depending on where you are scarred at, in some cases, it identifies what the enemy really knew that you would excel, that your testimony would have something to do with it. That with this scar, you would literally save lives just even talking about the encounter. So traumatic instances and scars, that's one of the first signs that you are chosen, not just called. Second sign is deja vu, or clairvoyance, or spiritual sight, so to speak. You would have had deja vu your whole life. One of the common things people like to mention is black cats. Oh, you seen the black cat? Oh, I thought I saw that cat again. And they'll say, oh, cats have 9 lives. That's what, the unlearned and those who do know better but have chosen the wrong side have used. That's what they use to tell you, oh no, the cats have 9 lives. It's easier to tell you something mystical like that than to tell you that no, what you are experiencing is a sight that you've seen before it happened. Because when you first seen it, it wasn't in physical life itself the way that you understand it. It was a part of a subconscious part of yourself. The spiritual man or woman in you had seen this, and this would have been happening your whole life. Different deja vu things all of the time. things that you say that come to pass, that all of your life you've said these things, they come to pass. It don't matter what it is. That's another sign that you will see things before they happen. You will feel things before they happen. For the most part of my life, I was calling that the vibe, or being able to vibe. You can walk in the room and then sense and pick up on the presence of what's going on in the room. For the most part, this also will make you feel like an outcast, because you'll be the one in the room that is able to literally pick up on everyone else and understand everyone else on a level that in some cases they don't even understand themselves. You'll understand situations and things and be a part of a knowledge that they are not receiving. So you will be in the room but still feel like you yourself are not a part of the room. It's more so that the room is just being in tuned into you. Everyone else may be in the room going about their very lives. You would have carried this around you too. Your whole life, everywhere you go, you having a knowledge and an understanding of things, and that you've seen before, because you approaching everything from a perspective that you know about it already. Not much has been hidden from you, because the spiritual realm is revealed to the chosen. In different levels it is revealed to you. Not all are going to have the same level of anointing, so you won't be able to see the same level within the spiritual realm. But the fact that you do see it, the fact that you do experience it, is going to be the absolute truth, and it will leave you standing in a position all of the time that is different than everyone else, so much so that, like I said, you'll feel like you are an outcast, or like you don't belong, and you could be having all the friends in the world right now as I'm talking to you, or you would still understand this, because they don't understand you in the way that you understand them. So, they can't be for you what you are to them. And it's not because there's something wrong with you or because there's something wrong with them. It is because you are chosen. You are not meant to fit in. You are meant to stand out, because, you are going to have the answers that people seek. In most cases, the enemy is going to hate you for that, because he operates in confusion. He operates in darkness. He operates in ways that he has taken the truths that belong to God and flipped them and tried to twist them. This is why, to see the real truth, like I said, you have to turn the world upside down, because that's what God has did. God is constantly using the blessing through the darkness. Constantly he does this. When he plants trees, you got to put that seed in the dark. It goes into the ground. You have to do that. So a lot of the darkest things that you can go through, the Lord is using those things to make you. Because in the story of Job, Job was considered by the devil. At first he was untouchable, but then the Lord allowed him to consider Job, and at that point, it's like all of the Job experienced all of these things, but it caused him to grow. The Lord used these traumatic experiences and gave Job double for his trouble. But once again, the Ethiopian Bible tells you another side, in so much as the fact that Job chose. He had an understanding that when he saw everyone else worshiping these things and idols, and they were doing this, and they were doing this religiously, and he in himself felt like, hold on, man, is that really God? Why are they really doing this? Secondly, about the Job that you read in the Bible, he was the king of the land. He wasn't just no regular man. He was the king of the land. You can go back and check this. That's what I'm saying. I don't tell lies here. The Lord is watching. So he made a choice. He asked, like, man, hold on, that it was something that he knew was off about this worship and things that people were doing. And the angel of the Lord came and told him, okay, look, this is the trick of the enemy. He's doing that. That ain't God. And Job said, okay, well, I'll tie all of that crap down then. I don't want nobody worshiping no false God or nothing around me. I want the real Lord that created the heavens and the earth and everything to be worshiped. And the angel of the Lord said, oh, hold on, think about that first. Because if you do that, the enemy is going to be upset with you that you know this, and he is going to come against you. But if you persevere, you're going to get double for your trouble. So he chose this ahead of time. That's what your deja vu comes down to. That's what your spiritual knowledge comes down to. You are having a greater understanding of things beforehand, so that when the time comes, you can know how to actually choose. And then in so many cases where others are blind, In your case, it ain't the blind leading the blind. If they would have latched on to the things that you're saying because you know better, then they would be able to receive salvation themselves. They would be able to see in the darkness themselves, because the Lord has been using this sort of thing your whole life. He's given you that understanding, that deja vu sight, that before things happen you know it, that before things are said you heard them, that before accidents happen you knew it, that before you heard about an accident happening in a place, this same place you decided you wasn't gonna go ahead of time. It was just all in your spirit. You lost your keys before you can actually get in the car to go to the place, and you know, either an accident hit the car shot up, or the place that you was gonna go, something bad happened over there, all because you left your keys. Is the only reason why you didn't get there, because the Lord is doing things like that. The spiritual sight, the spiritual knowledge has had you set apart your whole life. That's number 2, the deja vu and the spiritual things. Number 3, and I'm gonna just go with 3 right now. I will name others maybe in the future, but it's so many signs of the chosen, but these are the main, the ones that just you know. And number 3 is the crossroads. With all of this trauma that then happened in your life that you were scarred from, remember, number 1, you're gonna have childhood scars and childhood traumas that are in you and that are on the physical body, and you can see those. You'll have spiritual understanding and knowledge and things also with the sight. And then now number 3, you'll have a crossroads. You would have lived your whole life with these first 2, you know, and you know, the dealing with the fact that you had traumas. These things would have caused you to build up an ego or a persona that was greater than others, and then through this, then you would have just overcome all of the trauma. You would have told yourself, okay, look, I'm bigger, I'm better than that. You could have did therapy, all types of stuff, because the scars that are on you, they did not break you, they actually made you. However, the person that you were made is not the person that God intended you to fully be at the time. It's like it's a stop before the full measure of the purpose kicks in. Moses was living with the Pharaoh after having, you know, his tongue seared and going through life, you know, and I'm talking about miraculous, the way that the story of Moses is. Just read it from beginning to end. But you know, you would have had situations like that, and then, you know, he literally was risen in the house of the Pharaoh, and then he was allowed to commit murder in the sight of God, and then he left the Pharaoh, went into the wilderness, got married, had a whole nother life, had a whole nother life, and still he sees a burning bush in the wilderness where the Lord made himself clear to him. The crossroads was at the wilderness. Now that all these things have happened, now here comes your purpose. I did all this for a reason. I need you to go back now. I need you to turn back on and go back and bring my people out of there. But before he allowed Moses to go back, he trained him in the wilderness, in the supernatural. He trained him in the wilderness. He told him to stick your hand in your bosom and put it inside your shirt. He took it in there the first time and pulled it out. It was leprous. He put it in there the second time, pulled it out. It was healed. Put the rod on the ground. It turned to a snake. Picked the rod up. It turned into a rod again. You know, he prepared him for that. He prepared him for everything. So that's what the number 3 is, and it's big. It's the crossroads, because you at this crossroads, you have to make the choice. That's the difference between the called and the chosen, because you are so gifted and so imbued and have the mark of God on you. He has spent countless of everything that you want to name, from resources to energy to whatever, to bring you to that crossroad. But you are going to arrive at the crossroad not as a fool, as one who knows. Remember, you got the spiritual sight. You know from all your life. Can't nobody tell you what you've been through. And you know, like I know, that you can say some things and tell stories that would just blow people's mind, and they either gonna call you a liar because they're just so fanatical of what happened, and because they're envious because they can't repeat it themselves. They seeking attention. They are seeking vindication that you get without even trying. This glow that's on your life as having these spiritual gifts and signs, this is a sign of the mark of God on you. So then you'll go through life like that. And then now when you come to that crossroads, then it's with an understanding already, sort of. But you're gonna make a real understanding. Do you want to go dark, or are you gonna go light? the crossroad. Many of the call will go dark because they're not chosen in the first place. The gifts and everything that's in them. See, when the Lord causes you to build up that you yourself will build up the ego. You'll build up all of these things to deal with the hurts and the traumas. And then since you have spiritual knowledge and the world is open to you, a lot of people will go into the content creation field. A lot of people will go into the tarot card and other type of fields. A lot of people will go into sports and have supernatural ability. They be so cold at it because that's the thing. When the spirit man and spirit woman is awoken, the body is so much more better than one's body that is asleep, that won't ever wake up to what it is. But when it come time for you to reach that crossroad, you're gonna know that it's a crossroad. Those sports stars and those people that are rich and famous right now that you know, they reached the crossroad, and someone came and gave them a choice behind closed doors that you and I wouldn't know. But I'm not just gonna say you and I, because I'm talking to someone who knows. I'm talking to someone who knows. This is just a thing that you can get when God tunes you into this channel, so that you can have that last final guidance before the choice is made, because you already knew this was coming. But to the layman or the person that doesn't understand that, or that don't understand spiritual things, because you can also have these signs and you just been hiding them, and you still, one way or another, when you get this message, it is so that you can know that what you've been going through, what you've been experiencing, has been repeated over and over again. It's one of his #1 playbooks rules that the Lord does is these signs. So now when you reach this crossroad, it's for that reason, for you to decide which way you're going to go. Are you going to go good, or you're going to go bad? But you'll make it with a decision knowing better, because you know that if you go bad, you choose, oh well, look, I ain't gonna care about that. I chase just the riches. I chase just what I want. I just chase after the flesh. I just chase after the people's vindication. I just do that. You know what I'm saying? And then you will be better at it than some. You will be better at it than other people, like I said, that are asleep or the dead or talentless and that don't have none of that. When you come to your crossroad, you are coming there fully equipped to go in either direction. But if you choose to go dark, then the things that are spiritual won't wake up as fully as they would if you went into the path of God, because we're talking about a thing that only the Lord can teach you. He the one put these signs in you. It was to his purpose that you were born. None of us asked to be here. That's the one thing that I can tell you that you got to agree with. You didn't ask your mother and father, could they birth you? Could you be born? You didn't come to them and say, oh well, look, make me born on this day, and make me this age, and make me this race, and make me this what and this that. You didn't. That was a plan that was set in place before you. He who made that choice also had within you what he wanted you to do along the way. But that's what you get to decide. But you're making an educated guess at this crossroads. But you will come to this crossroads. Which one do you want more of? Because at that crossroads, most of the chosen will already have come to terms with the skies, come to terms with what to do with it. And then now you got to choose whether I want to go more into God, because God's way is going to cause me to have to reach out to others and do the things that of God. I'm gonna have to deny my flesh, because the more that you deny the flesh, the more the spirit man can eat. See, it's an ancient story that the Hebrews told, but they have lied and said the Indians told it. And that it's not that there is no Indians to it, but much of the knowledge that you receive out of the world, like I said, you have to turn it upside down to get the truth out of it, because the enemy is behind it all. The Lord is blessing those who can see clear for a reason, so that you can go forth with it. But the story, it went that, you know, the chief was saying he had a wolf in this way and a wolf in that way, basically left and the right path. One was a black wolf, one was a white wolf, and the young Indian asked, well, which one is strongest? And the chief said, whichever one you feed. So in other words, whichever one you feed the most. If you chosen throughout your life at that crossroads, you would have been feeding inadvertently the bad wolf. But the Lord would not have let that bad wolf get bigger than the white wolf or the great wolf, because the white and black is, you got to, like I said, twist those upside down. You go back in the day, the word black really meant pure. It didn't mean bad or anything to that, and it still don't now, not to me. But the system has designed it to be that way. But either way, it's whichever one you feed. So when you reach this crossroad, you may have been feeding the flesh, feeding the one that you been counting on. So this whole time you've been knowing that you was different, knowing that you was gifted, knowing that you was standing out, and you just ain't walked in it boldly enough. So then when you get to the crossroads, you decide, I'm gonna walk in it boldly now, I'm gonna own this boldly now. And then in that case, you know what I'm saying, your boldness can be either for the good of God or for the good of the world, or the good of your own self, which is the good of the world. So you decide, I'm gonna walk in this boldly. At that point, then now you can step into the fame and fortune, and they will come to you and make this deal with you that pretty much you got to renounce all those things that are good. You got to be willing to play along with that. But you think all that clever in the eye and all that up is all about. Like, so signs and symbols are for the conscious mind. And as a chosen one, you have been conscious, both physically and spiritually, your entire life. You reach this crossroads to the true chosen ones that will choose, because some will choose bad and some will choose good. The Pharaoh was chosen to be the Pharaoh at that time. Once again, another story out of the Ethiopian Bible, the way that it went is that the Pharaoh had, because remember Moses said, well look, who am I gonna say I went there for? You know, who am I gonna tell him sent me? He said, I am that I am, because you're talking to a man who knows everybody, knows everything. He believes he is God. So when you say I am that I am, you done already got his attention. You know, you're talking about a man that know you. Moses knew the Pharaoh when he came back into the kingdom to get the people out. So he would make that clear to him, like hey, this is who I am. I am that I am. I'm greater than him. I'm anybody that I want to be. So that's what that is. So then in the story of Moses, the Lord had already had that Pharaoh designed to be there so he can get the glory out of him. Even in the canonized version of the Bible, it says that he was there to get the glory. The Lord said, I have raised you up so that I can get the glory out of you. So the Pharaoh was going to serve God's purpose through all of his wickedness, through all of his evilness. It was to serve the purpose of God in the end. Through his crookedness, it was a part of God's plan. So there will be some chosen ones who have chosen the dark path. They've chosen a dark path. So you have to choose which way you gonna go when you reach this crossroads. So the Pharaoh was evil. The Ethiopian Bible lets you know, though, that at the part where it says that the army of the Pharaoh was drowned in the Red Sea, that's true. But what they didn't tell you in the canonized version of the Bible is that the Pharaoh, out of all of them, was the one saved. He was carried to shore by the archangel, and then he went on to become the king of Nineveh, a whole nother place. And then at that point, now he knew who God was, and he chose God from that point forward. Because the Lord knew that he had made him wicked to get the glory out of him, he gave him another chance in the end. So these things, and you ain't gonna find this in your regular Bible. And yes, I know, I can see it right now. Some traditional preacher or person or church religious individual is feeling some type of way about this message and what I just said. Sorry, not sorry. God will also have chosen the wicked chosen one for his own reason. The same way he has chosen the good chosen one. Chosen is chosen. Many are called, few are chosen.